Black, Poetic G. Beautiful love, always.
Good afternoon, ladies and gents. I'm King George. I am the owner of TY Productions. I am the curator of Black 31 magazine. Today we are here with another special guest. I mean, this brother, man, honestly, this is one of my favorite special guests. This brother has, I have done music with this brother for years. I have known him for years. He had did some amazing work for me, and we did some amazing work together. Sure. And the studios that he done had across the city, from Fishtown, now back in North Philly, down to South Philly, and when you talk about Repercussion Studios, the people who came through, and just the artists who just laid down music and what they have done for us. So we got to show so much love to Repercussion Studios. But without further ado, can we please show love to the owner of Repercussion Studios, Mr. Andrew Haa? Let's go.
What an intro. Appreciate it.
No doubt. Appreciate you, brother. So first and foremost, I want to dive into when was the start of Repercussion Studios and how did it start?
So Repercussion Studios started in 2008, and it was in my bedroom in my home, in my parents' home. And back then, it was just a handful of friends that were really talented in music, and we were just recording, making music, and then got to a point where, strangers started wanting to work with me, just hearing my work, and got to a place where it was like getting weird to bring people to my house, and so opened up a commercial spot in Fishtown, not too far from here. Mm-hmm. And the rest is history. I mean, from there we expanded, grew our staff and grew our skills,
yes,
our network, and it's been a blessing.
Absolutely. Now let the people know, what do you love most about music?
I mean, music can save your life, and I think that's the thing that a lot of people don't really attribute to music, but there's been times, at least for me, where music has been my therapist, been my saving grace. It's been the thing that kept me wanting to go, and so music can have, I think arts in general have an incredible impact on our lives, and I think that it's underappreciated because music is one of those things that can inspire people, and inspiration, there's no limit to what inspiration can create, right?
Yes.
So that was really the essence of why we call it repercussions, right? That
Absolutely.
There's, I know repercussions have a bad connotation, but that one day, music will have its effects.
Yes.
On our lives, and kind of like a butterfly effect.
Absolutely.
In doing this since 2008, I mean, I firsthand experienced just how it can change my life. Change
Absolutely.
the trajectory of where you're going.
Absolutely. Now, besides the studio start, when did the actual music journey for Andrew start?
Well, when I was 14, I was a worship leader, and so for my church, and I was always really good at singing, and so my parents put me in singing and music at a young age. I think at when I was 3 or 4, super young, I started taking violin lessons. And then later on, as I got older, 7, 8, 9, 10, around that age, I started taking classical music lessons, or vocal training, and learning how to do that. And so I've always had a pretty good voice,
Yes.
And so I joined the church in the 8th grade, and it was a pretty big church. It's called Korean United Church. At that time in the 90s, I mean, the Korean churches were huge.
Yes.
We had 5 services. I mean, probably 3,000 members. It was insane, And then we had a youth group, adult congregation, kids ministry. It was huge.
Yes.
And then they had 4 services every Sunday. And so I was the youth group worship leader. At that time, I think we had about 500 youth kids every Sunday.
Yes.
And I joined the worship team. At first, I was just a singer. I played tambourine, and I ruined it. I was so bad that first Sunday. And later on, John, who was the worship leader at the time, he's like an older brother to me. He basically kind of encouraged me to pick up guitar, and my dad bought me a guitar. It was a classical guitar, and you know how classical guitars have nylon strings?
Yes.
But at the time, I didn't know any better, so we put steel strings on a nylon guitar.
Oh, wow.
And so my fingers were just, it was so hard on my fingers, but I was obsessed. And in 6 months, I learned every chord. You know, in 6 months, I just practiced chords and, basically started leading worship from the age of 14. It was pretty crazy. It was like, I think back at that time, it was like, it happened so fast. And from there, I think John moved on, to a different stage in his life, and I was left leading a worship team. And then, I ended up creating a band, drummer, bass, all from the youth group. And we basically did fundraisers to buy equipment, things like that. Sold T-shirts. We called ourselves Living Sacrifice, which is a nod to Romans 12:1, the passage. Therefore, brothers, offer your bodies as a living sacrifice, holy and pleasing to the Lord. This is your spiritual act of worship, right? And that was kind of the passage that we modeled ourselves after. And basically, I led worship, and I got pretty good at it, and I started doing like retreats and like different like events and things like that. And every Sunday I would basically mix myself. You know what I mean? Like I'd literally play the guitar once, run upstairs to the mixing board, adjust the volumes, EQ, come back down, do that again and again. And it was a incredible journey at such a young age and into music, and I fell in love with music. And like I said, it saved my life. I was a troubled teen. I was getting into trouble and just doing a lot of bad things, despite being a worship leader. But it saved my life and brought me music, and made me who I am today. I feel like worship music is the purest form of music in a lot of ways, because there's a spiritual aspect to music, and I feel like it's more apparent in worship music. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
And so that's kind of like the musical journey start for me.
Yes.
Like just playing guitar, singing every Sunday.
Yes, that's amazing.
Yeah.
That's amazing, bro. That's amazing. When it comes to Repercussion Studios, and all the great artists that came through the studio, what do you say to all the great artists who basically step into the studio? What do you offer to the great artists that step into your studio? We're just all artists.
I think perspective. Perspective. And I think that's really important, because I think sometimes artists live within their own bubble of creativity.
Yes.
And so it's hard for them to see outside. It's kind of like what we call, like when you fall in love with the demo.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's hard for you to see outside just the demo, but at the end of the day, it's just a demo, right?
Absolutely. Yeah.
And so you have to create something that really other people can vibe with, and other people can get inspired by.
Absolutely.
And I feel like there are certain things musically that help create that. And so as a producer and as an engineer, I try to do those things.
Yes.
For every artist, no matter what, and I always try to think of, what can make it more human, what can make it more relatable, and make you feel,
Yes.
With the music and what the lyrics are trying to convey.
Absolutely.
So that's what I try to do.
Yes, absolutely. What do you love most about yourself?
About myself?
Yes.
Oh man, I don't know. That's a hard question to ask. I mean, the thing I love most about myself in terms of my, I don't know. I think I'm a very driven person, and I work very hard. You know.
Yes.
I think that in my short life, I've been able to accomplish things that other people wouldn't do, or couldn't do, or
yes.
Don't have the courage to do.
Absolutely.
I think courage is the thing that hopefully will define me. You know, and people will see that, oh man, he really tried his best.
Yes.
You know, and I still try to do my best every day.
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Now, I like how you phrase that, because do you believe that when it comes to business, because I know sometimes when if you work for somebody else's business, you cannot reach your goals. But I know do you believe that in taking that leap of faith, that is how you will reach the goals that you want to have in life?
You know, I heard this quote a long time ago, and it said that if your cause is true, people will find you. You know, and I feel like, especially with the studio, that has truly been the case, because there have been so many moments where I needed help, and somehow people just pop up, you know, and
yes.
they're there to help. You know, I needed clients, I run into guys like yourself, you know,
yeah,
and, you know, many others, and you know, I feel like if you're true and you have good character, you know, and you work hard and you do all these things, it's just, you know, things will happen. Things will fall into place, you know.
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And what do you believe is the most difficult thing about running the studio?
Oh man, running the studio. People. I mean, every job, every business, I think relationships and people. You
yes.
know? And I think that in my 30s, I was very ambitious. 20s and 30s, I was very ambitious, and sometimes you get blinded by how your ambition. Sometimes you think your ambition is more important than the people around you, and I've come to find that that's a big mistake. That your business is the people, you know, and
yes.
that like there's no goal that is above life.
Yes.
That makes sense. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I think that was probably one of the biggest lessons I've learned.
Yes.
You know? And I've had to learn it the hard way. You know.
Yes.
Because you know you've seen the story. You know, I've had a lot of incredible engineers, and sometimes life happens.
Yes.
And, you know, they can't continue their journey with us.
Yes.
But I have so much love and respect for everybody that has come through the studio as an intern, as an engineer,
yes.
as an artist.
Yes.
That's the biggest thing, man. People, relationships, that's the hardest thing.
Yes.
You know, and, you know, there's a part of me I wish, like, everyone that walked through my door, that I was able to establish a relationship with them that goes beyond just that moment, you know? And I feel like
yes.
if you have that power, bro, the sky's the limit. You know?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Now, also to dive more back into the studio, but also to dive more in just to some business questions.
Sure.
How important is it to be business minded when you are an artist?
Yeah, it's very important. Because the reality is the reason why most people are going to quit art is because they're not good with their money. And the fact of the matter is, you know, you have to be willing to do what's necessary in order to do what you love. You know, and I think that a lot of times, my advice has always been, you know, hold down a day job, hold down those things, you know, to make sure that you can make ends meet, and so that you can be in a place of creativity without the burden of everyday struggles. Like it's going to be hard for you to write a song if you're hungry. You know, if you don't have a roof over your head. If you don't know, you know, and in terms of being business minded, I think that that's really important, and that you're really, as an artist, you're creating a brand for yourself. Right?
Yes.
And so you have to look at different means of kind of generating revenue, whether it be doing shows or whether it making merch.
Yes.
Or creating content.
Yes.
Right. And you know, I think that that's really important. You know, finding ways to make multiple streams of income through your art, and that's really hard to do. You know, like even Van Gogh wasn't able to make money off his art. You know, he didn't go off until after he passed. You know, and so the reality is a lot of artists don't think about that. And I get their heart and I get their intention. They want to be pure. They want to be an artist.
Yes.
You know,
Yes.
all that things. But man, it's really important to think about your finances. You know,
Yes.
think about how you're gonna get by. You know,
Absolutely.
Just learn to, you know, and because art is not life.
Yes.
Art is inspired by our lives.
Yes.
You know? And so, you know, in good times, bad times, all those things can become fuel or a muse for, you know, your music, right? But, you know, I think at the end of the day, if you want, the key is longevity. You know, if you want to do this for the rest of your life, you gotta figure out ways to make rent. You gotta figure out ways to, you know, do these different things and find revenue and find team members. And, you know, for a studio, it's a little different for me, but, you know, but as an artist, an independent artist, you've definitely got to find ways to network, ways to build your brand. You know, success is bestowed on people. You know, like, and the thing is, I think society tries to tell you, like, grind, hustle, and do all these things, and, you know, there's no way you can fail. But the fact is, I've seen a lot of people work hard for years, decades even, and they're just in the same spot they were 20 years ago. You know, and the reality is like, you gotta learn to network. You gotta learn to meet new people. You gotta create relationships. People, again, that's the key. You know, and whether it's relating to your fans, relating to the people around you, you know, or looking at other engineers, working at different producers, working with different producers and people like that. You know, you never know where an opportunity can come, you know, and where one relationship can lead to the next, you know. And yeah, like, you know, you don't just become the number one artist in the world without the help of others.
Absolutely.
You know, and so, you know, I think that's a key thing to kind of remember. You know, as you're building your business, as you're building your brand, you're building your network, you're building your relationships. You know, that that you're thinking beyond just finances, beyond just money. That a business is not just about money. You know,
Yes.
Business is bigger than that. You know, business is about relationships and about your reputation, about your character. You know, Repercussion has been around since 2008. You know, it's 2016, 2026 now.
Yeah.
You know, it's pretty crazy to think. You know, and I think that, you know, over the years, maybe, you know, me and many people may not have agreed on things, but, you know, I don't think that they can question my character or question who I am. You know, they might not agree or might not be a fit.
Yeah.
You know, but hopefully they don't think that I'm a bad person or, like, you know, all those things.
I understand that. I respect it, brother. So I want to dive into something fun, some hip hop
Okay,
questions.
sure. Yeah.
Because I know you love hip hop, and I just gotta ask, who is Andrew's top 5 favorite hip hop artists?
Top 5 favorite hip hop artists. Man, that's hard. That's a hard one. I will say Jay-Z's definitely on the list.
Okay.
I think Blueprint was transformative for me. That came out when I was in 9th grade or 8th grade, going into 9th.
Okay.
And it came out that summer, and I remember knowing every single lyric by the time I was there that first day of school. Jay-Z is definitely one of the big ones for me. Biggie, obviously, another great, Kanye. I love almost all of Kanye's music. I think that, I have no comment on who he is as a person, but in terms of his art and his vision, I think that he's truly special.
And Kanye's fire.
Yeah. Let's see. Got 2 more. Let me see. I mean, it's easy to say Pac too. Pac is up there, Pac. I love Pac. Just the dichotomy of who he is as a person and how it showed through his music. I think it's shows how human he was as a person, and makes his music so relatable. You can go from Dear Mama to Hit It Up.
Pac was fire.
Pac was a full person. Full person. I love that his music.
Absolutely.
Portrayed that also.
Absolutely.
Trying to think of someone else. Maybe someone else I could put on that list. Man, hip hop is hard because I feel like I need to put rappers in there.
I get it. Wait, just one more. Who?
Let me see.
There's a lot of tough ones.
I mean, yeah, there's a lot. Rakim probably up there too. I love Rakim.
Absolutely.
Rakim was the first person that flowed like that I heard, and I was like just in awe.
Yeah.
Like Rakim, the
Rakim.
microphone soloist.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd probably put Rakim up there in terms of rappers. Yeah. That's the. I mean, I can't go wrong with that list right there.
Yeah, that's a fire list. That's a fire list. That's a fire list.
Great list, right?
That's a fire list. Wow. And any honorable mentions?
Honorable mentions? I mean, Kendrick is definitely an honorable mention. J. Cole. I love J. Cole. Honorable mention. Drake.
Okay.
I will say Drake probably over Rakim even, because Drake just has so many good songs. And just like me as a producer, yeah, Jay-Z, what Jay-Z was in the 90s and the 2000s, Drake was for 2010s to 2020s, you know what I mean?
I hear that.
Just like hit after hit, and so Drake is definitely up there too.
Absolutely.
Despite the whole Kendrick
Dave
thing,
I hear that.
Yeah, his songs are so good. It's just like they're so good, so catchy.
That's happy. Now I got a question for you.
Sure.
What you think about the latest run from what you think about the latest 6 album run from Nas?
Oh man. Nas is up there too.
Like,
If I Were the World.
Yeah.
That song.
Yeah, absolutely.
That song. I mean.
Yeah.
Man, I feel like I gotta redo this list now.
That one is fire because you got to think about it. Like recently, like he did all 3 King Diseases and he did 3 Magic.
I haven't heard the whole thing.
No, you haven't heard? No.
Yeah.
King Disease and Magic got 3 albums.
Yeah.
3 albums each from one. Yup. King Disease 1, 2, and 3.
I mean, Nas is. Yeah, I mean, like Nas is on the Mount Rushmore of hip hop. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So like. Another one I will say though, just because I mentioned that If I Were the World, Lauryn Hill.
Lauryn Hill is
Lauryn Hill is probably my number one artist.
amazing.
Probably
She
of all
promotes-
time. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, I named my son Zion after the Lauryn Hill song. You know what I mean?
I like that.
I love Lauryn Hill. You know,
Yeah, absolutely.
yeah, she's probably huge inspiration for me. I've been able to work with her, with people that have worked with her, and so
Yes.
you know, I just, you know, yeah, it's just, she's just true inspiration, and I think that, you know, her songs are timeless. You know, the life lessons that I base my life around. You know, my wedding song was Nothing Even Matters. You know, like
Yes, yeah.
you know, I named my son Zion after her song. You know,
That's fire.
I love Lauryn Hill. Yeah.
That's fire. That's fire. Yo, that is amazing. Because Lauryn Hill's always been one of my favorites. I think she's my favorite female artist.
Yeah. I
all
think
time.
female, male, whatever.
Like she is incredible.
Yeah. I remember. You gotta understand. Like my mom. I think I was like 13, 14 years old. And my mom, she's first generation Korean immigrant, and just playing Miseducation of Lauryn Hill and just explaining the lyrics
Yes.
to her. And
Yes.
as a kid, just like translating what she's saying,
Yes.
and then like
So much goodness.
yeah, and then even her Unplugged album, man, I go back to
Yes.
that today, even in my 40s. I'm just like, the wisdom and the understanding that she had in her lyrics and in her music, that I feel like, because it's crazy, because like in the time they were calling her crazy.
Exactly.
You remember that? Like
Mhm.
they were just calling her crazy. They were blacklisting her and making her seem like, you know, she's whatever. But I listen to these songs and these lyrics, and I'm just like, true to me even today, you know. And they're just powerful songs, man, that are, you know, forever relevant to humanity, you know.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I think it's crazy to think she's only had one real album. You know?
One. Crazy. Like totally amazing.
Yeah.
So it's like, oh man, so many great artists. Now I want to ask on the opposite side, right? Who is Andrew's top 5 R&B artists
R&B,
or singers? Just singers, period.
Lauryn Hill, obviously,
Yes.
on that list. Frank Ocean is another one that I love. I love Frank Ocean. I think Frank Ocean is my default playlist. Like, I love Frank Ocean. I think that his music, it's just incredible. Some other R&B artists that I could think of. I mean, Michael. Would you put Michael in R&B? I mean, he's pop, but you know, I mean, Michael, yeah, MJ, you know.
Yeah.
Who else could I put in there? Man, five is a lot. I mean, there's so many great artists, but to put them in order like that, it's tough.
I don't want to say it too. I don't want to say it, but no Kells in there. I said I don't want to say it, but no R. Kelly in there.
I mean, R. Kelly's cool. I mean, I Believe I Can Fly was huge. Yeah, I remember when Space Jam came out. That was a crazy time. I mean, I did love R. Kelly at the time, but you know, I think there's a part of me that was kind of, you know.
I understand.
Yeah, you know,
I respect.
I mean, like, and the same thing goes for Diddy too. You know what I mean? Like, there's some things that are beyond the music. You know what I mean? And,
I get it.
And it's hard for me to listen to those songs and, you know what I mean?
I respect it.
Enjoy him, knowing the character behind the person that wrote it. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Boyz II Men. Come on.
They fire.
Motown Philly. Come on.
They fire.
Boyz II Men gotta be on there.
Yeah, Boyz II Men gotta be.
Yeah, Wanye His voice is just crazy, and just their
fire.
Yeah.
Fire.
Crazy.
But if you got Boys to Men, then you gotta say Temptations.
I mean, I do love the Temptations. I will say I love the Temptations, man, because I grew up. My parents had a grocery store, and they always play oldies.
Temptations.
You know, and so I know all the old Motown songs by heart. You know what I mean? And I mean, I love the Temptations as well. You know, Papa was Rolling Stone, probably sonically one of the craziest songs ever. You know what I mean?
That's fire.
Temptations, okay, yeah, I'll put them on the list. Yeah, I mean, R&B. Let me see. Man, R&B. You know. I feel like Giveon. That boy Giveon, new guy. I mean, he's not so new anymore, but
Giveon is crazy.
Yo, his songs are really good.
Giveon is crazy.
Yeah, his songs are really good.
Yo.
Yeah. That song, 20s by him.
Yeah.
I mean, like, I literally relived my heartbreak in the 20s listening to those songs. You know what I mean? Like, truly, I like Giveon a lot, you know. Yeah, I think that's a solid list. I try to put someone new on it. You know?
Yeah. Oh no, Giveon is crazy.
Yo, he's really good.
I like Giveon.
His voice is really special. Yeah.
Absolutely. And what's my man named Caesar?
Yeah, Daniel Caesar.
Yeah, Daniel Caesar.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, Daniel Caesar.
I think I give Giveon a little more edge than Daniel Caesar.
I get it because the writing, the song ability. Yeah,
I like Daniel Caesar too. He has a few good songs, but like some Giveon songs, man, they transport you. They give you that Ratatouille feeling.
Absolutely.
You know, like where you just like a kid again. You just like, you know, you get your heart broken for the first time all over again. You know
that's crazy. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And I love when songs do that to you. You know?
Absolutely. So musically, right? How much? I want to ask something about when it comes to studio performance, when it comes to engineering. What advice can you give to young engineers?
Young engineers, pay attention. Be present.
Okay.
I think that's the most important thing. Because a lot of times I find that engineers are very ambitious people too. You know what I mean? And also very like scientific people.
Yes.
But sometimes you can get so lost in knobs and parameters that you don't think about the human element of a song or a performance. And I think that that's really ultimately the most important thing.
Yes.
And you know, don't get lost. You know, don't get lost in your head and in all these different things, but be present, be there with your artist, listen. And I think a lot of times, and I'm sure you understand, like you'll do something and I just get what you need to do.
Yeah.
You know, like I won't even say a word. You know, and that comes with practice. That comes from being present. That comes from listening really well and understanding a person's intention. Yes. You know, and you can't do that if you're distracted. You know, you can't do that if you're on your phone scrolling.
Yes.
You gotta be present. You gotta be paying attention. You know, feedback is an art. You know, and it's like, you know, be present. That's my advice.
Wow. I respect that. What is one thing about inside studio sound that most people overlook?
Inside studio sound?
Yeah. So like what are common mistakes or common things that like basically like when you have like young engineers or just young people who stepping into the studio sound, what are most common mistakes that you see young engineers make?
Talking too much. Giving too much input, you know, and taking over the session, and not because of what's best for the song, but because of your ego, you know. And I feel like a lot of times a young engineer will see what I do and see me giving feedback to an artist, but not realize that I've developed a relationship with this artist, you know, and I've developed trust with this person. And you can't just come in to the studio, not having any experience and thinking that you can just go off and ruin the vibe and ruin the session by putting your ego on full blast. So that is one thing I feel like that's probably the biggest thing, you know what I mean? Because there's a lot of people that are talented, and talent is a prerequisite to being in this room, to being in a studio environment, to make music. But the thing that will give you longevity in this career is trust, relationships, and developing your skill sets, I think that's the biggest mistake young engineers make. It's just like coming in thinking that they know better than everybody else instead of coming to learn. I've had young engineers in college, intern for me thinking that they know better than me. I'm like, I've been doing this longer than you've been alive. And
yes.
And then to also challenging people, you know what I'm saying? Like when people like challenge you, just like kind of like poke and prod your ego, or things like that. And I think that that's just bad taste and just bad etiquette.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Not personable.
Not professional.
Not professional.
Yeah.
And so, there's a professionalism, there's a etiquette to this. It's important to have a lot of bedside manner in this business, because people are being very vulnerable. People are being very vulnerable when they hop in that booth and spill out their emotions and their experiences, and for you to just kind of shit on that, it's not. It's just not right.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely, brother. Absolutely. And now I got a question for you. Do you know how to read music?
To a degree. I can't like sight read and play immediately, but I can read. I know what notes are what notes and what a half note rest, and I know what those things are. Like I know the letters, but I can't really like, you know what I'm saying? Like I can't. Yeah.
Yes. How important is it for an artist or an engineer or a business owner or a person that's just trying to move forward within the industry? How important is it to invest in yourself?
Oh, I mean, that's everything. Everything. What you have in your mind and in your data bank of in your consciousness, like those are the things that make you valuable. Your life experiences and all these things, like these are things that make you relatable, make you, though working on yourself is really important, like you can't give people value if you don't work on yourself, and like people will smell the shit. When it's not real, people will smell.
Absolutely.
People will smell it. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Like if you're not, and you got to constantly be working on yourself. Like I said, talent is a prerequisite. And people think that that's the thing that's going to get them in the door. That's just the baseline.
Yes.
To even be considered, right? And so, working on yourself, working on your understanding of music and all these different things, and you don't necessarily have to know how to read music, right? Like, RZA didn't know how to read music, right? Kanye doesn't know how to read music, but those guys are able to use what they know and develop the skills to be able to use an ASR 10 or an MPC to be able to create music, and and oftentimes their lack of musical talent actually allows them to create something completely unique and completely different. Whereas, someone that is very musically talented might not be able to create something like that, you know what I mean? Because it breaks the rules, So, but working on yourself is fundamental. It's something that you should be doing every day. And I'm not just talking about music. I'm talking about lifestyle, you know, what you eat, what you consume, do you exercise, like, and I think all those things attribute to who you are as a person, you know, like, you know, it's like, you know, you can't give your best to people if you're not your best. And so I hold that dear to my heart, you know, to not be a hypocrite and to make sure that I'm putting the work in every day in different ways, whether, you know, it might not just be the studio, but, you know, I'll hit the gym every day, you know, or I hit, you know, work on my relationship with my wife and my family, you know, like these are the things that make you a whole person. And I think that working on yourself is important. It's the most important thing. You know?
Yeah, that's the truth.
Yeah.
That's absolute truth. That's some game. That's some wisdom. Let's go. That's heavy. That's heavy words. Let's go. Absolutely. So, what advice do you have for younger brothers growing up right now, and they just going through so much throughout society, right?
Sure. Yeah. There's a lot going on.
What advice do you have for a lot of younger brothers growing up just to stay away from all the violence?
The violence? I mean,
Yeah.
Find your path. Find your path and find the people that can help you along your path. You know, and there's a lot of distractions, whether it be, you know, violence, you know, or a certain group of friends, and I see it in the studio even, you know, on a regular basis, you know, like, you know, find your path and pursue it and walk a straight line, you know, have blinders on, you know, sometimes some relationships are not meant to be forever, you know, and some relationships don't serve you, you know, and some relationships are, you know, and it can even be your family reality, you know, and a lot of times, you know, your mother or your father or family members that they have good intentions and they want to protect you, but the fact of the matter is, like, being protected also raises weak people, you know what I mean? And so you're going to need some grit, you're going to need some fire, you're going to need some of that, you know, elbow grease to kind of like get through some seasons in your life. And yeah, and sometimes you got to break away from the patterns of violence or, you know, hardships that are around you, you know. And yeah, I mean, if you're too busy doing what you love, there's no time to be doing what's not going to serve you, right? So, you know, I love Pharrell, like, you know, because he kind of speaks to that also, because you know, I remember seeing a clip of him in the studio, and it's just like, y'all need to be working, you know. And I think that's huge, man. Like, work. I haven't stopped working since I was 13 years old. You know what I mean? Like, I had a job since I was 13. You know, and so, you know, if you're working, trying to make a life for yourself, and doing these things to be responsible, and figuring it out sooner the better, you know, because a lot of times, a lot of these kids get into violent situations because they feel like they have nothing to lose. And if you're not working hard to create a life for yourself, you may not have anything to lose, you know, and so your life means nothing to you. But start putting the work in every day. Start putting the work in every day. Do those hours, read those books, and see how you feel about yourself at the end of a few years. You know what I mean? Like, if you love yourself and you put the work in, you'll love yourself more, you know, and you won't waste away all that hard work for a moment of ego or pride, you know. And I think that's the thing, you know.
Yes.
You know, like, in a blink of an eye, your life can change, you know. And,
Absolutely.
you know, all that hard work and all that stuff that you've been working towards can go away in an instant. So,
Yes.
yeah.
What effects or how therapeutic are the effects that music have on the mental health for people nowadays and back then?
I mean, music is just such a... I feel like it's the closest thing to magic we have. Like, real magic, you know? Like, a song can change the way you feel. A song can bring you to tears. A song can bring you to your knees and put you in a place of worship, you know? And, yeah, I think music is very powerful and can be used in good ways, bad ways, you know?
Yes.
You know, it can perpetuate a bad culture of violence, or it can also be a voice for that culture.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
It could be both, you know? And I think that music is, it's all about perspective, and I think that's the beauty of guys like Tupac, who, full people, a guy that loved his mother, was a good friend, you know, things like that, you know? And I think that music really has the ability to kind of bring people together, you know, in a way. There are very few other things you can do, you know? Like, I think music's on a short list of things that can bring people together, like food, music. It's probably like the two things that can really become universal languages, despite, you know, and I think that music is a powerful tool to bring people together, and it's, you know, an honor and a privilege for me to be an ambassador for that as a audio engineer and producer.
Yeah, absolutely, brother. Absolutely. So, let the people know, where could they find you at?
You can find me right here in Philly at Repercussion Studios. You can Google me. You know, we're in the Fishtown area of Philadelphia, Fishtown section of Philadelphia. We have great staff here. We have George, Rose, Matt, and, you know, a handful of other engineers that bring their clients here as well. But yeah, we're a small mom and pop shop, you know, doing the best we can, and, you know, we've been in business since 2008, you know, and, you know, hopefully, you know, we will continue a legacy, you know, years to come.
Let's go, brother. I love it. Absolutely, man. Absolutely. So listen, man, we just finished up a great interview with the owner of Repercussion Studios. Listen, brother, much love and respect. We appreciate you every time we step in. Every time that we step into the studio, this brother gives us excellent service. This brother, like, when you talk about songs, are I say songs are his expertise. Great work, and we love putting in the great work and connecting with the brother all the time, because, like he was saying, music creates magic. So we love you, brother, and we appreciate it.
I appreciate it.
Seriously, man. Seriously, brother.
Thank you so much.
So we are the platform of truth, the home of the champions, and a place where we uplift man, woman, and child. Peace and love, y'all.
Peace and love. Thank you.
Your mind, during these times, we need more education, not incarceration, to elevate from negativity at all costs. Knowledge and power. Remember, this game spilled given. Embrace it. T.Y.I. Poetic G. Peace and love. One. I love it.